50 billion. That's roughly how many burgers Americans eat every single year. And here's the uncomfortable part. Almost nobody eating them could tell you what happened to that patty before it hit the grill. Was it frozen for weeks in a distribution warehouse? Was it made from premium cuts or from processing leftovers? Was it ever treated with chemicals you'd never expect to find near your food? And why do some chains proudly tell you everything about their beef, while others go completely silent the moment you ask? That silence is not an accident. In this industry, what a company refuses to say is often more revealing than what it advertises. We spent weeks digging through published ingredient lists, federal court records, USDA documentation, and first-hand employee accounts. What we found is a clear pattern, and today we're ranking 7 major chains from concerning to genuinely alarming based on what they won't tell you about their beef. Then we'll finish with 3 chains where the patty is exactly what the menu promises. By the end of this video, you'll be able to walk into any burger restaurant and know, within one bite, what you're really eating. Before we start the countdown, I'd love to know, what's your go-to burger chain? Drop it in the comments. And be honest, because by the end of this video, you might see it very differently. And if you enjoy honest, research-based consumer investigations like this one, subscribe and turn on notifications. We publish deep dives like this regularly, and you don't want to miss what we're investigating next. All right, let's start the countdown. Number 7, Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen built its empire on ice cream, the Blizzard, the Dilly Bar, soft serve dipped in chocolate. But over the last several years, the company has been quietly repositioning itself as a burger destination, pushing its stack burger line front and center. So, what does Dairy Queen actually tell you about that beef? Here's the entire disclosure, word for word in spirit. The patties are 100% seasoned real beef. That's it. That's the whole story they're willing to tell. No USDA grade, no sourcing information, no word on antibiotic use in the supply chain, no statement about whether the beef arrives fresh or frozen, nothing. Now, here's why that silence matters. Food journalists at the Takeout made a sharp observation. USDA grades like Prime, Choice, and Select are marketing gold. If a chain's beef qualified for any of those grades, advertising it would be free money. When a company that would clearly benefit from making a quality claim chooses to make no claim at all, that choice is itself information. To be fair, 100% beef does mean no non-beef fillers, and that's not nothing. But it answers the least interesting question about the meat. Here's a simple test you can do yourself. Next time you order a stack burger, press your thumb gently against the edge of the patty before your first bite. Fresh beef has irregular texture. It compresses unevenly, with a slight looseness at the edges. Beef that was frozen solid and then thawed tends to feel denser and more uniform, because ice crystals compress and rupture the muscle's cellular structure during freezing. Your thumb can read the supply chain. Dairy Queen isn't the worst offender on this list. But for a company betting its future on burgers, saying almost nothing about the beef is a strange strategy, unless saying more would hurt. Number 6, Sonic Drive-In. Sonic has been serving burgers from drive-in stalls since 1953. The car hops, the giant drink menu, the nostalgia, it's a genuinely beloved brand. But when it comes to the beef at the center of the menu, Sonic goes quiet in a way that's hard to ignore. The official menu description: 100% pure seasoned beef patty. Sound familiar? Same formula as Dairy Queen. Same missing information. No grade, no sourcing, no fresh or frozen statement. But with Sonic, we have more to go on. When the outlet Eat This Not That reached out to Sonic with direct questions about its burger patties, the company reportedly didn't respond. A former employee quoted by the same outlet said the patties arrived frozen. Another employee, posting on Reddit, put it even more bluntly. Pretty much everything comes in frozen. Now, here's the detail that makes Sonic's silence really stand out. Back in 2010, Sonic became one of the earliest fast food chains to adopt formal animal welfare standards for its chicken and pork suppliers, cage-free eggs, humanely raised pork, real commitments publicly stated. And the beef? The product that anchors the entire menu? No equivalent public commitment. Nothing. Think about what that means. This is a company clearly capable of publishing supply chain standards when it wants to. The The decision to skip the beef isn't an oversight. It's a choice about what they'd rather you not think about. One more field test. Watch the timing. Kitchens cooking fresh beef to order show slight variation in cook times because patty thickness and grill conditions vary. Kitchens running frozen, pre-portioned patties operate on fixed timers because every patty is identical out of the freezer. If your food arrives with machine-like consistency at peak rush hour, that consistency is telling you something. Number 5, Jack in the Box. This one is fascinating because Jack in the Box accidentally documents its own problem right on its own website, if you know where to look. The chain uses 2 different patty formulations. The standard patty, used in the basic burgers, lists exactly one ingredient: beef. Clean, simple, honest. But the quarter-pound signature patty, the one used in the bigger, premium-priced burgers, tells a different story. According to the published ingredient information, that patty adds salt, yeast extract, dextrose, and additional flavorings to the beef. Let's break down what those actually are, because this matters. Yeast extract is a flavor enhancer, rich in naturally occurring glutamates. It delivers a savory, umami depth similar to what MSG provides. Dextrose is a simple sugar that promotes browning and rounds out flavor. Neither is dangerous. But here's the key question. Why does the premium patty need them? High-quality beef doesn't need help tasting like beef. Flavor enhancers exist to make ordinary commodity beef taste better than it would on its own. So, the upgrade you're paying extra for may not be better meat. It may be the same tier of meat, chemically dressed up. And there's more. In a 2024 report from the U.S. Public Interest Research Group evaluating antibiotic use in fast food beef supply chains, Jack in the Box received a failing grade, or indicating its suppliers routinely use medically important antibiotics in beef production. Why should you care? Because overuse of antibiotics in livestock is directly linked to antibiotic-resistant bacteria in humans, a problem the FDA has been fighting for over a decade. Jack in the Box wasn't the only chain to fail, but it was specifically named. Employee accounts across multiple food publications and forums also indicate both patty types arrive frozen. Want to taste the difference yourself? Order a basic cheeseburger and a jumbo jack. Try a bite of each patty plain, no condiments. The standard patty tastes like beef. The signature patty carries a subtle savory background note that doesn't come from the meat. That's the yeast extract working. You're not tasting better beef. You're tasting the additive. Number 4, Burger King. For over 70 years, Burger King has sold one idea harder than any other: flame grilling. The char marks, the smoke, the mental image of a real burger over real fire, like your dad's backyard grill. Here's what actually happens. Burger King's patties arrive at restaurants frozen solid, confirmed by multiple employee accounts, including widely cited descriptions of patties going straight from the freezer onto a feeding belt. That belt is part of a conveyor broiler, a machine that carries frozen patties on a chain-link track between 2 gas flames, cooking both sides at once. Fat drips onto the flames, creates smoke, and that smoke flavors the meat. So, is the flame-grilled taste real? Technically, yes. But nobody is standing at a grill making judgment calls about heat and timing. A machine is running frozen pucks through fire on a timer. The flavor is real. The story behind it is manufactured. And then there's the history. Until around 2012, Burger King's patties reportedly included lean, finely textured beef trimmings treated with ammonium hydroxide, the product the public came to know as pink slime. Quick context. These are the fatty scraps left over after primary cuts are removed, material that historically went mostly to pet food, until a company called Beef Products Inc. developed a process to spin out the fat and treat what remained with ammonia gas to kill E. coli and salmonella. Important balance here. The USDA approved this product as safe, and it was never a health hazard in the regulatory sense. The issue was disclosure. Millions of customers ate it for years without ever being told. After the media firestorm in 2012, Burger King, McDonald's, and Taco Bell all announced they'd removed it from their supply chains. The removal happened only after exposure, not before. You're test at the counter, bite into a Whopper, and pay attention to the center of the patty, away from the charred edges. A fresh beef seared on a hot surface develops slight internal irregularity, small pockets where moisture escaped unevenly. A frozen, conveyor-cooked patty has a denser, more uniform core because freezing compressed the protein structure before heat ever touched it. The outside delivers what the ads promise. The inside tells the truth. Quick pause. We're about to hit the top 3, and number 2 involves a federal lawsuit over whether the product could legally be called beef at all. But first, which chain has surprised you the most so far? Let me know in the comments. And if you're finding this investigation useful, a quick like genuinely helps this video reach more shoppers who deserve to know this. All right, back to the countdown. Number 3, Hardee's and Carl's Jr. Here's something many people don't realize. Hardee's and Carl's Jr. are essentially the same restaurant wearing 2 different uniforms. Carl's Jr. covers the West Coast, Hardee's covers the Southeast and Midwest, and both operate under the same parent company with nearly identical menus and a shared sourcing operation. Both chains have positioned themselves as the premium end of fast food. The Black Angus branding on top-tier menu items implies careful cattle selection. The advertising has always screamed, "This is a serious burger." Now, line that positioning up against the actual disclosure. Both chains confirm the patties are 100% beef, and that's where the information ends. Neither chain publishes any statement that the beef is fresh. Neither admits it's frozen. On the single most basic quality question in the burger business, the answer is silence. What fills that silence? Employee accounts documented by Chowhound and other food publications describing frozen patties at both brands. A customer on Reddit even posted photos of what they described as a frozen patty at a Hardee's location. And as far as public consumer-facing documentation goes, the company has not directly addressed the question. Understand what that combination means. Black Angus branding, premium pricing, premium advertising, and total silence on freshness, from a company that would gain enormously by saying, fresh, never frozen, if it could. That's not ambiguity. That's a company choosing its words very carefully. The test here happens before you even order. Watch the grill station for 30 seconds. A fresh beef kitchen has a short, busy cycle, product constantly moving between refrigerated storage and the grill. A frozen patty kitchen moves slower and more systematically, fewer trips to storage, longer stretches at the grill, metronome, predictable output. The rhythm of the kitchen tells you what the menu won't. Before we reach the final 2, here's one piece of food science worth locking into memory, because it explains everything on this list. When beef freezes, ice crystals form inside the muscle cells, and those crystals puncture cell walls. When the meat thaws and cooks, the moisture those cells were holding leaks away. That moisture is the juice that runs when you cut into a great burger. It carries water-soluble flavor compounds you simply cannot get back once freezing destroys the structure. Frozen beef isn't unsafe, but a dry, dense, compact patty is the frozen supply chain expressing itself directly on your plate. And the 2 chains left on our avoid list serve the most processed products we found anywhere. Number 2, Taco Bell. Yes, Taco Bell? No, they don't sell burgers. But no list about questionable beef in American fast food is complete without the single most documented legal battle ever fought over whether a product could be called beef at all. In 2011, an Alabama law firm filed a class action lawsuit making a stunning allegation that Taco Bell's seasoned beef was only about 35% actual beef. The remaining 65%, the suit claimed, consisted of water, oats, soy lecithin, maltodextrin, anti-dusting agent, and modified cornstarch. The lawsuit demanded Taco Bell relabel the product as taco meat filling. Taco Bell fought back hard. The company took out full-page ads in major newspapers and publicly insisted its product was 88% USDA-inspected beef, with the remaining 12% being seasonings, spices, water, and other ingredients. The law firm never publicly named the laboratory behind its 35% figure, which weakened its position, and the lawsuit was eventually withdrawn. So Taco Bell won, right? Here's the part most people miss. Look at what Taco Bell's own defense confirmed. Even by the company's numbers, the product contains oats, maltodextrin, soy lecithin, modified starches. Taco Bell calls these seasonings. The USDA has a different word for them: binders and extenders. Ingredients specifically not permitted in a product that carries the legal label ground beef. In other words, even in victory, Taco Bell effectively confirmed it isn't selling ground beef in the traditional sense. It's selling a beef-based seasoned filling that meets a different lower standard. The 88% figure was the defense. And the story isn't over. In July 2023, a new class action was filed alleging that Taco Bell's advertising misrepresents the amount of beef in items like the Crunchwrap Supreme and Mexican pizza compared to what customers actually receive. That case was still working through the courts at last report. The hands-on test: get the seasoned beef on the side if you can, let it cool slightly, and press a small amount between two fingers. Real ground beef, even heavily seasoned, keeps a coarse, fibrous texture from the muscle grain. A heavily extended filling feels smoother, almost paste-like, because oats and starches homogenize the texture. What you feel between your fingers is the filler ratio, expressing itself directly. The lawsuit was dropped. The oats are still in the beef. Number 1, McDonald's, the biggest restaurant company on earth. Roughly 70 million customers per day across 100 countries. The McDonald's patty is, without exaggeration, the most consumed piece of ground beef in human history. And for years, it contains something most of those 70 million people would never have knowingly chosen. Like Burger King, McDonald's used lean, finely textured beef trimmings, the ammonia-treated processing product the public dubbed pink slime, in its patties. The company confirmed it had used the product and stated it was removed from the supply chain by around 2011. What McDonald's never fully explained: how many years it had been in use, or in what quantities. Again, for balance, the USDA considered the product safe. The problem was that nobody eating it was ever asked or told, what's in the patties today? Through a behind-the-scenes production facility visit arranged with Good Morning America, McDonald's confirmed its current patties are made from a blend of beef trimmings and cuts including chuck, round, and sirloin. Ground, formed, frozen, and shipped to restaurants where they are cooked on flat-top grills. Now, McDonald's does deserve one genuine credit: the Quarter Pounder. Since its fresh beef rollout, the Quarter Pounder patty really is fresh and cooked to order, and honestly, it shows. But here's the catch: the standard patties, the ones in the Big Mac, the cheeseburger, the McDouble, the vast majority of burgers sold, remain frozen. Which brings us to the phrase doing all the heavy lifting: 100% beef. Is it technically true? Yes. It means no non-beef fillers. A bar Taco Bell's filling couldn't clear. But look at everything it doesn't tell you. Not the cut, not the USDA grade, not the antibiotic status of the cattle, not the country of origin, not whether the beef came primarily from whole cuts or from processing trimmings. Every single one of those questions has a real, meaningful answer. McDonald's answers none of them with the phrase it built its marketing on. Here's the most revealing test on this entire list, and you can run it in a single visit. Order a regular cheeseburger and a Quarter Pounder with cheese side by side. Bite through both patties and compare the centers. The fresh Quarter Pounder, slightly irregular texture, noticeably juicier interior. The frozen standard patty, denser, drier, uniform, same restaurant, same counter, same 100% beef claim. Two completely different products. McDonald's is running the fresh versus frozen comparison for you every single day. It just doesn't advertise it that way. So after all that, the silence, the additives, the freezers, the lawsuits, you might be wondering if an honest fast food burger even exists. It does. 3 chains prove it's possible to serve real, fresh beef at fast food speed and fast food prices. And what they all have in common tells you exactly what the other 7 are hiding. Real beef, number 3, Whataburger. Fresh, never frozen, 100%. American beef that doesn't touch the grill until you order. That's Whataburger's standing commitment. And the company built its entire logistics operation around one non-negotiable constraint: the beef is never allowed to freeze. Operating out of Texas since 1950 and now spread across hundreds of locations in more than a dozen states, Whataburger runs what it describes as one of the fastest production-to-grill timelines in the quick service industry. Vegetables chopped in-house daily. Produce from North American farms. Even the ketchup carries a clean label ingredient list with no artificial additives. The proof is in the bite. Press slightly as you eat and notice the juice. That's not grease. It's cellular moisture carrying water-soluble flavored compounds released from fresh muscle tissue during cooking. It's exactly the thing freezing destroys, and no frozen patty on this list can replicate it, no matter how well it's cooked. Real beef. Number 2. Wendy's. Everyone knows the square patty. Almost nobody knows why it's square. When Dave Thomas founded Wendy's in 1969, he made the patty square on purpose, so the corners would hang over the round bun, and you could see the beef before you ate it. 50-plus years later, that philosophy still runs the company. No frozen beef, no fillers, no additives. Just salt and pepper applied at the grill. The receipts are real. Wendy's sources from North American farms certified under the Beef Quality Assurance Program, a USDA-aligned quality and animal care standard. It was also the first restaurant chain to partner with Progressive Beef, an independent third-party verification program for animal care and sustainability. Notice the pattern. The chains with something to show you, put it in writing. The chains with something to hide say 100% beef and stop talking. Here's the detail I love. Look at the edges of a cooked Wendy's patty. They're slightly irregular, pressed out a little differently on every burger, because fresh beef responds to heat differently every time. Frozen patties come out of industrial molds identical. Perfection in this business is a warning sign. Wendy's little imperfections are the fresh beef showing you what it is. Real beef, number 1, In-N-Out Burger, the gold standard, and the reason is structural, not sentimental. In-N-Out owns and operates its own meat processing facilities. The patties are USDA ground chuck, and the beef is never frozen at any point between the supplier and the grill. Not for a day, not for an hour. Here's the detail that separates In-N-Out from every other company in this video. New locations can only be built within driving distance of one of the company's regional distribution centers, because the shelf life of fresh beef dictates the geography. Read that again. Most chains build restaurants wherever they want, and then engineer a beef supply cheap enough to reach them. Freezing solves the distance problem. In-N-Out does the reverse. The fresh beef comes first, and the map bends around it. The menu is 4 things: burger, fries, shakes, drinks. The same family has owned the company since 1948. No private equity cycle demanding margin expansion. No pressure to cheapen the beef to fund the next menu innovation. The patty's ingredient list is 1 word long: beef. Look at the edge of a double-double patty where it met the flat top. Fresh beef seared hot produces a lacy, irregular, crisped edge where the fat renders fast. Frozen patties sear differently. Surface moisture from thawing creates a flatter, more sealed edge. The edge of an In-N-Out patty looks like beef cooked by someone who cared about the result. Because it was. Let's bring this home, because everything we covered today collapses into one question you can ask at any burger chain in the country. Does this place say fresh, never frozen? Or does it say 100% beef? Those sound similar. They are not remotely the same claim. Every single chain on our avoid list can truthfully say 100% beef, and most of them do because it's the strongest claim their supply chain allows. Only the chains with something real behind the counter say the beef was never frozen. In this industry, companies advertise every advantage they have. The claims a company doesn't make are a map of its weaknesses. The patty is where the money goes. What happened to it before it reached the grill tells you exactly what your money is actually buying. If this investigation changed how you'll order your next burger, do 2 things. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we publish research-driven consumer guides like this every week. And tell me in the comments which chain or product we should put under the microscope next. Restaurant menus, grocery brands, healthy products that aren't. Your suggestions decide what we investigate. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, read past the marketing, and I'll see you in the next investigation.